Would you execute your own closest loyal soldiers, or sit in a wooden barrel and treat the most powerful conqueror on earth like a mild inconvenience, just to keep your ego from destroying your purpose? Most people today ruin their careers, marriages, and entire futures because they cannot handle a minor insult. But in the brutal arena of history, true leaders understood a cold reality. If you do not slaughter your own vanity with your own hands, it will eventually slaughter everything you have spent your life building.
Look at the way you move through your daily life. You spend years building an invisible wall around your fragile pride, convincing yourself that you are defending your dignity, when in reality, you are just locking yourself inside a dark, suffocating prison. Every single time you demand validation from people who do not care about you, you hand them the keys to your emotional peace. You react to every slight, you refuse to yield in meaningless arguments, and you treat your inflated self-importance as if it were a sacred crown.
The harsh truth that your pride refuses to accept is simple. The world does not owe you applause, respect, or unconditional submission. Real power has absolutely no urge to scream for attention, and true strength never needs an audience to prove its worth. Yet millions of people walk into self-destruction every single day, burning their alliances and ruining their peace just to protect a pathetic image that nobody else actually cares about. To see where this endless arrogance inevitably leads, we must travel back to an era when the greatest empire in human history was tearing itself into bloody pieces. Welcome to the 3rd century, a nightmare epoch where Rome was suffocating under the weight of its own leaders' vanity. Arrogance had infected the Senate, greed commanded the legions, and the entire civilized world was sliding directly into total oblivion.
In less than 50 short years, more than 26 different men claimed the imperial purple robe of Rome. Almost every single one of them was murdered by his own personal guards, or betrayed by his closest allies within months of taking power. They were men deeply intoxicated by vanity, obsessed with wearing golden crowns and building statues of themselves, yet completely blind to the rot consuming the foundation beneath their feet.
Out of this apocalyptic, bloody chaos walked a man who possessed zero interest in political games or royal luxury. Lucius Domitius Aurelianus. He was not born into nobility. He had no rich political family to shield him, and he cared nothing for soft living. Aurelian was the ruthless son of a humble peasant who rose through the brutal military ranks purely through cold, terrifying, unbroken iron discipline. When the desperate legions finally declared him emperor, Aurelian did not throw lavish victory banquets or commission monuments to his own greatness. He saw the imperial purple robe not as a grand trophy for his pride, but as a heavy, dangerous death warrant that demanded his absolute, total devotion. While previous rulers used the throne to feed their egos, Aurelian viewed his power purely as an instrument to cut out the systemic rot.
While former emperors hid inside golden marble palaces, feeding their vanity, Aurelian slept in the freezing mud alongside his infantry. He ate the exact same harsh rations as his lowest soldiers, enforced brutal punishments for disobedience, and personally rode into the front lines of every single battle. He cut away all the fluff of vanity, completely ignoring what people thought of him, and focused entirely on the cold reality of survival. Aurelian understood that an army consumed by individual pride is an army destined to die.
When his own loyal officers let their personal greed or arrogance threaten the mission, Aurelian executed them without a second thought, proving that no man's ego was larger than the state. He crushed rebellion not with speeches, but with swift, terrifying efficiency, maintaining absolute control because his own mind was completely untainted by personal vanity.
In just 5 incredible, bloody years, Aurelian accomplished what historians consider an absolute miracle. He crushed massive barbarian invasions, reclaimed lost breakaway kingdoms in the east and west, and single-handedly reunited the shattered Roman world. The Senate had no choice but to bestow upon him the ultimate historical title, Restitutor Orbis, the restorer of the world. When he finally entered Rome in a legendary triumphal parade, surrounded by captured enemy kings and endless wagons of stolen gold, millions cheered his name as if he were a living god. Yet Aurelian's mind remained entirely untouched by the deafening applause. He knew that the exact moment he allowed himself to believe his own hype, he would fall into the same trap that killed every foolish ruler before him.
Centuries before Aurelian proved his discipline on the battlefield, another man waged a completely different war against the ego in the dusty, crowded streets of Corinth. His name was Diogenes of Sinope. While kings and generals fought bloody wars to expand their borders and erect statues, Diogenes chose to live inside a discarded wooden storage barrel in the middle of the city square. Diogenes owned nothing more than a ragged cloak and a single wooden bowl, which he promptly threw away the moment he saw a young boy drinking water with his bare hands. The wealthy elite citizens mocked him as a madman, but Diogenes looked back at them with deep pity. He saw their grand villas, expensive silk clothes, and constant thirst for social status as nothing more than golden chains wrapping tightly around their souls. Diogenes used unfiltered truth to attack the fragile pride of everyone who walked past his barrel. He walked through the crowded markets holding a lit lamp in broad daylight, telling people he was desperately searching for a single honest man. By stripping away every physical possession, Diogenes proved to the world that a man who has conquered his own internal desires is completely immune to the games and manipulation of society. The ultimate test of Diogenes' philosophy arrived when Alexander the Great, the young, unstoppable king who was actively conquering the known world, marched into Corinth. Intrigued by the rumors of this strange philosopher who refused to pay him homage, Alexander walked into the city square with his elite imperial guards to face the man in the barrel.
Alexander stood over Diogenes, casting a massive shadow with his imperial armor, and offered him a royal favor that any normal human being would kill for. The king looked down at the beggar and said, "Ask of me whatever you desire, and it shall be granted to you." Most men would have instantly fallen to their knees, begging for gold, land, or power just to feed their own greed and pride.
Diogenes didn't even bother to stand up or adjust his ragged cloak. He slowly opened his eyes, looked up at the absolute master of the earth, and casually said 4 words that shattered the entire illusion of royal glory. "Stand out of my sun." Alexander, stunned by the sheer weight of a man who needed nothing, turned to his officers and admitted, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." Look at these 2 titans of human history. Aurelian ruled the known world and treated it like a heavy, dangerous burden. Diogenes possessed absolutely nothing and made the greatest conqueror in history look small.
Both men understood a profound truth that modern society tries desperately to hide. Your true value is never defined by how loudly you flex, how many people validate you, or how fiercely you defend your fragile pride.
Now turn that uncomfortable mirror directly toward your own life. How much precious time and energy do you waste every single day trying to protect an image, arguing over trivial nonsense that won't matter in 6 months? You claim you want success, freedom, and mastery, yet you remain a pathetic prisoner to the opinions of people who shouldn't even register in your universe. Greatness is never constructed on vanity. It is forged on the cold ashes of the pride you choose to destroy.
If an emperor could command millions without letting arrogance poison his mind, and a homeless philosopher could make Alexander the Great look small, what is your excuse for acting like an entitled child when things don't go your way? Answer me right now in the comments below. What is the one thing your pride is holding on to today that you know you need to destroy before it destroys you?